We have 6 blocks done. Let's do an easy one today. Hi everyone, Cristin Som here, and we are continuing with our We Whisk You a Merry Christmas quilt. So now we have 6 blocks done, all 6 so far. So today I'm thinking we'll give you a little break and do an easy one. All right, so today we're going to work on the rolling pin block. The rolling pin block is on page 10 of our book. And it's just one simple block, shouldn't be too hard. It does have some special trim instructions, and I'll go through that in photos for you. It will not be difficult at all. So grab your packets if you made packets, and let's just talk about the supplies for today for the rolling pin block. So there is one thing, I am going to personalize my rolling pin, and that is a stretch exercise if you choose. All right, just a reminder that that's completely optional. I'm going to use embroidery software. You can use embroidery software, you can use your machine, you can choose to leave it as is. Either way is fine. If you are in the market for embroidery software, don't forget to please use my affiliate link. I'll add a link here. It is through Embrilliance. It gives a little kickback to our channel for me supporting me in teaching you how to use the software. So it's Embrilliance Essentials. That's the one that I use a lot. But any of the Embrilliance products you can purchase from that link, and it will give a little kickback to the channel. All right, so let's go over what we need for today. So the first thing is our main background. So our main background, if you had the original kit, so I bought mine years ago, and so I have the original fabrics. This one has been discontinued, but I have a replacement for you. So this one is the original. It is the green plaid. Make sure to back your main fabric, all of the main fabrics. You want to back them with fusible stabilizer so that you don't get any puckering, especially something big like this. This is a big long piece of fabric. So we're going to start with this one at 10.5 by 4.5, 10.5 by 4.5. So this way, 10.5 by 4.5. And like I said, if you bought the kit recently from our sponsor, Your Best Friend's Quilt Shop, instead of having the older kit, then you probably have this one as your fabric. And you can see it's very similar, all right? It's just the updated version of the green plaid from Kimberbell. All right, so either one will work great. 10.5 by 4.5 for our main fabric, okay? Backed with fusible stabilizer. And then we have just one applique piece. Super easy day, I'm telling you. That's why I'm thinking we should stretch a little, but totally optional. All right, so for our applique fabric, this one is for the actual rolling pin. You can see it is a brown lattice, orange peel. I don't know what it's called, but that's what it looks like. So 2.5 by 8. 2.5 by 8 for this fabric. So actually that's funny. That means it's going to go this way, but I don't think it will. Well, maybe it will, because on our, depending on how it's situated on our hoop. All right. So anyway, 2.5 by 8 is our applique piece. I do back mine with fusible stabilizer, but that's totally optional. I like it because it makes it so that it's super easy to cut, and I know I'm not going to get any puckering. And since I'm going to add a little bit extra to, I'm going to add some wording on my rolling pin, so that's extra stabilization as well. So 2.5 by 8, and like I said, appliques, it's up to you if you stabilize it or not. So on that, this is the older fabric. I don't know if it's been discontinued or if they just didn't have it. My guess is it's discontinued. But so from our sponsor, she sent me this little fabric scrap to let you know what the replacement is. So you can see it's, I call it Starburst. She told me what it is, or somebody told me what it is, and I don't remember now already. It's a good thing I make up my own names for the fabrics, right? So I call it Starburst, but it is just brown, same color brown with some Starburst on it versus the orange peel or lattice, whatever it's called. All right, so 2.5 by 8, whether you have this older one or the newer one, either one will be perfectly fine. And that's all of the fabric pieces. So then we just need our batting. So our batting, our final cut size on this one, like I said, there's going to be some special cut instructions, and I will show you. There's going to be like a little tick mark, and we'll just measure from the tick mark on the right and measure from the tick mark to the left, and then we'll cut. So it won't be a problem. And I'll show all of that in photos so that you have a successful cut. Don't worry. So our final cut size is 2.5 by 8.5. So that means that we want a piece of batting that is 3 by 9. All right, 3 by 9 for your batting today. And then we have quilting. I don't remember. I chose Hobby 5. All right. So Hobby 5, that is the one that has flour, butter, rolling pin. That's why I chose it. There's a rolling pin on the quilting design, a measuring cup and an egg and some stipples. So that one will be really cute. So Hobby 5 in a 2 by 8 quilting design. But remember, you can use any quilting design from your existing library or add to your quilting library by buying additional designs like this Hobby 5 that I'm going to use. Either one will be fine. We already used the Hobby 5, and I've seen from the photos that many of you decided to use Hobby 5 as well. We used it on our flour jar and our sugar jar already. So if you have Hobby 5, great. If not, another one will work perfectly fine, no problem. All right, so I'm going to personalize my rolling pin, and I'll add a picture so that you can see why. I used to own a cookie company, all right? So I kind of have to have my rolling pin say Cristin's Cookies, and so that's what I'm going to do. But some other ideas, baking with love, that would be so cute. Christmas cookies or your name, like I could have done Cristin Creates, but I'm leaning toward Cristin's Cookies. But anything, right? Renee's Cookies or whatever you want it to say. Something cute will be really fun. And again, totally optional. You do not need to do it, but it's a really good opportunity. If you're new to Embellishment Essentials, working with lettering on Embellishment Essentials is amazing. You'll love it. It's so easy. I just absolutely love it. It's super cool. And you'll see, I'll look through different fonts to see what will look nice for that. And you would import your fonts, and maybe I'll download one just so that you can see how to do that. Again, I've got lots of videos that show how to do it. But anyway, so like I said, I'm going to personalize mine. Totally optional stretch exercise if you decide to. No worries if not. One block today, super easy. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey everyone, so I did an entire video yesterday on personalizing the rolling pin, and while editing the video the next day, I see that file didn't work. I'll give you a little tidbit of it so that you can see what I'm dealing with. So you can hear that that's not going to work. So I am going to redo it. Thankfully, I saved it as a working file so I can get the information back. So anyway, I'm going to start by opening up Embellishment Essentials. I've already stitched my rolling pin. It's done, and it's super cute. I'm going to try and give you information from trying to remember what I taught yesterday. So bear with me here. So I'm going to start by opening up my Embellishment Essentials, and the hoop size that you can always see the hoop size that you're on right here down in the lower right hand corner, and I'm on my 6 by 10 hoop, which is what I want to be. If you're not on the hoop size that you want, go to this preferences folder, click on the hoop size that you want, say okay, and then click on this compass button and click H for hoop, and it will zoom into the hoop. All right, now I want to turn my hoop sideways so that when I'm personalizing it, I can see it well. So it's super easy, super cool. Look at this. So on this hoop down here at the bottom where it says hoop 6 by 10, just double click on that and look at it, changes the orientation of the hoop. How cool is that? All right, so I'm going to start by I'm doing a little backwards. So, I'm just going to bring in the rolling pin design. If you bring in, normally we bring in our quilting design first, but when you're personalizing something, all of that quilting will be in the way. Or, you know what, here's another idea. I'll bring in the quilting design. What quilting design did we use yesterday? Hobby 5. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to open up my quilting files, and Hobby 5. Embroidery files, block by block. Pez is what I use for my machine, and I'm looking for the 2 by 8 quilting design. 2 by 8. I've already started on the next block and was coming back to edit this so I'm off. I'm thinking about the other one that I just filmed. All right, so here is the 2x8. Now again, it is, you can see it's rotated incorrectly because we moved our hoop. So I'm just going to hit this left rotate button. You can do left or right, it doesn't matter, whatever works. You can tell that it's not, I have to click on the design first. So click on the design, you have to click on the stitching for the design to be highlighted, then click the rotate button, and then click outside, and then here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move it out of the way. All right, and so then we can bring it back down, and then it's still on the first design. The other option is you can bring in the rolling pin and then bring in the quilting and just move the quilting. That's super easy to do too. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that real quick because that's easy peasy. I'm going to click delete on this. So if I bring in the rolling pin design, go back to the embroidery designs right there, embroidery files, Pez, and then the quilt, and I'm looking for the rolling pin. There's my completed rolling pins. I made a couple of them for that last tutorial that didn't work out. I hope this one works. I have the worst luck with microphones for some reason. Just, I think because I keep buying cheap ones, I don't want to invest in a good one. So notice the design. I found the design, I clicked it, it goes to the center, I double clicked it and it went to the center, and I'm going to just rotate the design. So click anywhere on the stitching, and then I'm going to go ahead and rotate it right so that my tick mark is at the bottom. We end up not using the tick mark, and I'll show you about that later, but since we're quilting in the hoop, we don't need it. All right, so there's the rolling pin design. Now, at the end, I'll show you how to bring in the quilting design and move it. It's super easy, but right now we want to be able to see this really well, and it's easier when the quilting isn't behind it, where it's all blank, so that we know what we're doing. So when I initially did it, I'm going to show you my first one here. So this is the first tutorial that I did for you, and I used a 1-inch design. It's Baby K's Erin font. I ended up on Baby K's Erin font, and Baby K's has been purchased by Red Gemini now. So that looks really cute, and I was really happy with that. And then I slept on it, and I was thinking, oh, I think I want it all in one line. And so I changed my mind, and I started all over. I have both of those tutorials that didn't work. And here's the second one that I ended up with. And what I had to do, because a 1-inch design wouldn't shrink down enough, so I had to use a 1/2-inch design. And so I had to look through all of my different fonts, and I'm going to show you how to do that, to use a 1/2-inch font, and then you just move it to how you want. So this was the one I ended up finishing on. I already stitched it out. I totally love it. I'm very happy with it. When I click on the design, it tells me it is Stitchtopia favorite color in a 1/2-inch. That's the one I finalized on. But in my previous tutorial, I tried like 10 different ones just to show you some ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start from fresh. I'm not going to go into as much detail as I did before because now it's quite late at night. But here's my rolling pin, and I just want to show you how to import a font and, well, how to utilize a font to personalize your rolling pin. So if you go to this A button here, it says Create Letters. Click on that, and then it has the font here, or I'm sorry, the font, sorry. So there's a few fonts that come free. When you purchase Embellishment Essentials, you get a free few fonts, gee whiz, it's late. You get a few free fonts with your purchase that are native to the Embellishments program. So if you're in this properties window, you can click on letters, and there's that ABC block. This is the one that, like I said, it's free. It's not ABC, it's just the block font. ABC is what automatically types first. So if you highlight, see this text right here, highlight that where it says ABC and have it say whatever you want it to say. So I'm going to do Cristin's Cookies. All right, and this font, I think all of the ones that are native to Embellishment Essentials, you can change them a lot, but I wanted a little different font. So to change the font, I showed on several videos how to import a design. You literally just unzip the folder. If you purchase a design from another shop, then download it wherever you download. I generally download to my desktop. And then you double click on that folder, open it, and unzip that folder. And then you take the BX fonts only that are in that folder and drag them over to your workspace, and it loads them onto Embrilliance. And then they stay there. So if I click on this, these are all of the fonts that I have loaded to Embrilliance. And as many of you know, I had a hard drive crash and I lost all of my designs, but these are loaded on Embrilliance, so they will stay there. It's pretty amazing because a lot of these companies have gone out of business. I can't get those designs again. So it's pretty amazing that Embrilliance keeps them on there. So you would just go through your designs. If you have a rough idea of the design that you're looking for, like when I first started, I really wanted a script font that matches my actual rolling pin. And then I ended up, I put several different ones, and I've got a photo of some that I'll show you where I just pretty much typed them all out and then looked at them and decided from there which one I liked best. So I ended up finishing on Stitchtopia. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to Stitchtopia favorite color, I believe it was called. So I'm just going to scroll down here. Stitchtopia favorite color. Down a little bit right there in a 1/2 inch. Okay. So right there, there's the design. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. You can zoom in by just hitting the scroll button on your mouse. So this already looks really good. When you're doing a script font, you need to move the letters around a little bit, and I'll show you that actually real quick. So say that we were going to use this Maya in a 1/2 inch. Oh, that's 1.5. Number 1 1/2 inch. So this is a 1/2 inch. And this is actually one of my favorite fonts. So on this, see how this S is further away? That's because there isn't an apostrophe in that font. Some of the fonts have apostrophes and some don't. This one doesn't. So this actually comes together pretty well. But like what I would do is I would overlap this I a little bit, the S a little bit, and I definitely would move this S. I probably would give a little bit more space between these O's. So you can do all of that, and it's super easy. So just real quick tutorial on that. If you have this R, you click on that center square. So notice that each of the letters has a center square. So you click on that center square, and then if you're just moving that one, you would just move it, holding on to that font or that letter. But if you wanted to move all of them, so you would click on this bottom, this little green arrow at the bottom, and watch what happens. It moves all of those next letters. So that's generally what I do. I click on that. You have to start by clicking on that letter or that center green square, and then from there click the bottom one, and it will bring all of them over. Another thing that I like to do often, I'm clicking outside so nothing is selected, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on all of those letters. I like to bring them up to a line because you can move them later, but it helps me to be able to center them and to get it, like if you wanted the S to drop down a little bit, whatever, if it's all on a line of some sort, I find that helpful. So I just wanted to quickly show you, on a script font especially, you do a little bit more to be able to get it exactly how you want it, and it's totally personal preference and what you think looks good. This S, you can see I'm just clicking that center square, and then I'm moving the letter over, and when I click that bottom one, it's bringing all of them over. So like on this O, I think these O's are pretty close. I'm going to just move them the other way a little bit, and you can actually do the same thing. You can move them all over a little bit, click on that center square, over a little bit, and you know, it looked fine from the start except for that one S that was over. You would have to find another font that has an apostrophe if you want the apostrophe, because some of the fonts don't have them and some of them do, and some have just punctuation, lots of punctuation. So you'd have to look through different of your fonts that you have or what you find online. All right, so that looks really good. I would want an apostrophe personally, but that looks really good. The other thing is that you would have to resize it because you can see it goes over on the sides too much. So I would click on the whole word. And then here's a tip. If you click the shift button and then any of the 4 corners, it will center from the middle. All right, it helps if you get it in the middle first using those black squares right there. And then from there, click the shift button and any of the 4 corners, and you can see it stays where it is, but it is centering so that you're not moving it back and forth to see what will fit. All right, and then from there, remember I moved it up to this line, so I would want to center it also in the middle here. And for these, you would use the black squares on the ends to be able to make sure that it's lined up with that center line. All right, so that looks really good. That's done. I'm just going to zoom out so you can see it. All right, so that's how to do a script font. Like I said, I used a different font. I have that on here right here. I used that Stitchtopia favorite color, I think it was. So I'm going to just click on this and click delete. If you like that one, that's a really nice one too. That was Maya number 1. So then I'm going to just bring in from the start now. So I'm clicking on that A, and it's still on Maya. I'm going to highlight the text and have it type in the word that I want, Cristin's Cookies. All right, and then I'm going to find a font that I like. So I liked that Stitchtopia favorite color in a 1/2 inch. Makes it so that I can fit it all on one. And see, this one has an apostrophe. So what I would do is size it in a way, like for me, it all looks really good. I did do some movement, but what I would do is this one is too far out in my opinion, so I'm going to move that apostrophe over, and I'm just moving the apostrophe because there's not much space between this S and C, so I just want the apostrophe and the S to move over. And again, it helps if you click on the entire word, bring it up to a line. That makes it easier. So you'll see I brought my S up a little bit too high, just a tiny bit. But anyway, my point is just to show you how to do all of this at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the entire word. I'm going to bring it back to the center, and then I am going to size it. So when I'm checking the center, I want these squares on the center line here, but I also want these black squares down on this middle center line. All right, looks like it could go down just a tiny bit. All right, that's good. All right, and then I'm going to hit that shift button and any corner, and it will size it from the center, and you can see how easy it is to get it within those gray lines right here, this line and this line. All right, clicking outside so you can see it. That looks really good. That's what I ended up deciding on is Stitchtopia favorite color in a 1/2 inch. But the script fonts looked really good too. Some others that I tried out. Baby K's Erin font. And like I said, Baby K's was bought by Gemini Red, or Red Gemini. And also Baby K's Pizza was fun. Designs by Juju Tatiana, designs by Juju Isabel, designs by Juju Maybelline, designs by Juju Ophelia. That one was really cute. I almost went with that. I really liked that. And the other that I really liked is Stitchtopia Carmi Lou. Those were several of the ones that I tried out that I thought looked really good. But again, you have to check it with the letters that you're using. So like Stitchtopia Mariah is so pretty. It's got these little hearts for eyes, and I really love that. But with the letters I was using, it didn't look good because I think it was the I and the S didn't connect well. I don't remember now, but anyway, so check out different fonts. It's super easy to import them, super easy to merge them in and create your design. Once you have your design completed, we have to bring in that quilting design. Let me remember to do that. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and this would put the quilting design at the end. So it's very important if you do it this way to make sure to move your quilting design. So all right, so bring in your 2x8 quilting design, click on the design and rotate it, and it's already in the center. Don't have to make any changes. That looks great. So the only other thing is that you would want to, I'm going to unclick on this, close these folders here. All right, so I'm going to right click on the quilting design. There we go. click on it and then right click on it, and you can say move to first. All right, and it brings the design up at the top, because of course you want your quilting in the background and then the embroidery design and then the personalization on top, so you can see that that worked really easily. You don't need to do any color sorting or anything. Make sure your quilting design is centered. Make sure your rolling pin design is centered. Make sure your letters design is centered. All right, so this looks fantastic. I already saved mine, but you would do I want to point this out. So anytime you do a design that has a font included, that's when you want to save a working file. Because if I had just saved my original file, this one or this one, as just a PEZ file, then I wouldn't be able to tell you what font I used. I wouldn't be able to easily make changes to the font. So that's when you're working with fonts, that's when you want to save it as a working file. So I would go to File, and then this is what I do: Save as Stitch file and working file, because your embroidery machine is going to need that PEZ or whatever format your machine uses. But then it will also save a working file so that you can make changes to it if you change your mind on the font or the lettering or anything like that. So save as, stitch, and working. All right, I'm not going to do it because, like I said, I already did mine and I already stitched it, and it's super cute. I just had to redo this tutorial real quick so that you know how to personalize your rolling pin if you choose. I can't wait to see them. and how are you doing with your goal? I love hearing about your goals. I appreciate the kind comments that I'm pushing myself hard on my goal. I don't like sharing these personal stories. I'd much rather focus on you and our embroidery blocks. To me, that's so much easier. I'm sure you probably feel that way too. It's not easy, right? So I appreciate your kind comments about that and helping me to feel comfortable with this. So like I said, my goal is to push myself to share different stories that I hopefully are inspiring to you. Maybe you find something in them that helps to inspire you. So I shared my 100-mile story, my 200-mile story, and my 300-mile story all on bicycle rides. And I wanted to share what was supposed to be my first 400-mile bike ride, and it turned out to be a fail. So I got it in my head, and this was the same year I did the 300. This was a strong year for me, and I thought, I got it in my head, I'm going to do a 400 and I'm going to do it by myself. The plan, so I signed up for the Knoxville double century ride, 200-mile ride. And then I figured I'll just start the day before and I'll ride 200 miles the day before and then join in, just keep on riding and join in with the official start and do that 200-mile ride. Well, my daughter came and supported me through this crazy idea, and she is just amazing. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine giving your entire weekend to someone else's project that has just, it was so sweet. I mean, she's got her own full life, and here she gives me her entire weekend. And she literally, like, I would ride and she would drive her car, and she'd go to the next rest stop that we decided would be our rest stop, and just like keep me on route and always know where I am. And it was amazing that she did that for me. Absolutely amazing. So, and I could not have done it without her for sure. And I didn't actually finish, but anyway, we'll get there. So like I said, I had this crazy idea. I was going to do 200 miles the day before the event. So I started at noon from this park that we found that is near the official start, and lotioned all up with my sunscreen. And my daughter had her car filled with all kinds of supplies, lots of food, suntan lotion, tubes in case of a flat. Thank gosh for that. We actually even brought an extra wheel. So just her car was filled with all these, like, maybe we'll need this, maybe we'll need that. And obviously I've got my pockets filled. Cycling jerseys have pockets in the back, and you put snacks in there and a tube and whatever tools and stuff. And yet she had like a car full of stuff for me. So she was like an official support and gear vehicle for me. And it, thank God, because I'll tell you, I ended up having 5 flats that day. 5 flats in one day. And one of them was a blowout that I actually needed an entire tire, not just a tube. The tube is the part that you fill up that goes inside of the tire. I needed an entire tire. So thankfully I had everything, but so 5 flats in one day, that really slows you down, as you can imagine. Pumping it by myself out on the side of the streets and figuring out how to do all of this. And it also was over 100 degrees. And this is a ride that had like, I think it was 26,000 feet of climbing, something like that. It was insane. It was a super hilly ride, and in addition, over 100 degrees and 5 flats and just every problem. Like, God was going, nope, this isn't going to be your day. So we started out, I got a flat like within the first few miles. I think that was the first one. I remember pulling over and going, oh my gosh, this is not good. And it just kind of continued throughout the day. So I think I only did 100 miles that I had planned on the 200. I think I only did 100 before the official ride start. And this was riding all alone, completely alone, by myself, other than my daughter out in the car at some point on the route. But riding all alone in an area, I don't know, this was in Vacaville, California. Very hilly ride, and we altered the route just to get mileage basically. And there was this monster climb. This is I think it's called the Knoxville climb. I'm not absolutely sure, but this one climb it's like 20 plus miles, and the road is like these craters. Like, it's a really bad road. California roads are not super great, and there's just these huge craters all throughout the road. And there were people writing in this group about the upcoming event to be careful because water bottles go flying out, all these things. And I hit that road, that monster hill, at like midnight. I think it was about midnight. And I was like, oh, this is just not good. So I had already climbed. And when I see a descent as a reward for the climb, I've always thought that way. Like, if you just climb, and it hurts, but then you know that you're going to get the descent and you get to recover your muscles, and it's exciting to go downhill. So, but on this one, I was afraid to go downhill. I was very much afraid because of what I had read about this horrible road. And here I am out in the pitch dark doing this by myself. And so I got up to the top of the climb, and that's when I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I don't feel comfortable with this. And one of the flats that I got actually was in the crater. Like, as soon as my bike hit down into this groove in the road, my whole tire just popped, basically. So I was afraid to go down that hill. I had heard about, water bottles flying out and bike wheels not doing well, and it was dangerous. And here I'm doing it at midnight. So I decided, I called it. I'm like, nope, we're not going to do it. And Melissa, of course, was super supportive, like, whatever you need, no problem. And so we drove, we put my bike in the car and drove, pretty close to the official start. And I had an hour and a half of sleep before the official event started. And we had found a dog. This was all just so crazy. My daughter ran a dog rescue, an animal rescue. And we had found this dog that was loose and didn't have a home, and we rescue a dog in the middle of the night when we should have been sleeping. So, but lots of things happened on this ride. It was just crazy. All of it was crazy. And so anyway, I got an hour and a half of sleep, 90 minutes of sleep, and woke up, and oh my gosh. So when you do a lot of, like, I had ridden over 100 miles, right? Something about that. I don't remember the exact mileage, but it was at least 100 miles, and then just went to sleep, and all of my muscles tightened up, and like getting up, I was like, oh, like, this really hurts. And here I was about to go do a 200-mile ride, and it was crazy. So I hadn't told anybody that I was doing this. I think I told one friend, and I wanted it to be a secret. I wanted it to be my personal, exciting journey. I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided not to tell anybody. So I joined all my friends, because a bunch of my friends were doing the 200-mile ride, and like, they didn't know that I had been riding the night before. And so I join all of them. We get all ready, and we were in a pretty big group, I think, and there was a little confusion of like who's starting when and stuff. It was a little bit crazy, but anyway, we get riding, and we're going up the first hill, which is just an easy hill. It wasn't bad at all. And this guy comes up next to me, and he is what I call a big boy. So I always called the really, really strong guys in our club the big boys. Like, they're the weekend warriors. They're the ones that go out and they don't ride all during the week because they're working, and then they go and they do 100, 200-mile ride like it's nothing, right? And they're the big boys. So, and I just idolize them. I'm like, oh, they're so cool, right? So this one that is definitely the big boy that I just idolized. I was very impressed by him. He came up alongside my bicycle, and he whispers to me, I know what you're doing. I heard what you did last night. And my friend had told him. And I was like, oh my gosh, he knows what I was doing. Like, that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. And he goes, anytime that you want to do the 508, there's this 508-mile ride, which is insane. And several of my friends have done it, and I never considered it. And he's like, anytime you want to do the 508, I will be your crew. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's huge. Like this guy, you don't even know who you are saying this to little me, right? That was pretty cool. So that's how my day started. The on the second day is right from the beginning. This guy saying that to me, and I was just like, that is just so cool. That was really, really nice. But keep in mind that I didn't get my full 200 miles the day before. I don't remember how many I got. I think I ended with 301. So I don't think I got many. I must have only gotten like 100 miles on that first day. But anyway, so that meant that after the 200-mile ride, I would have to keep going. And I thought it'd be okay. I thought, all right, I can do this. So I'm out riding with my friends, and we're having a fantastic time, and everything was great. And I was obviously extremely tired. And on my bike, everyone else is saying we're at mile 103 or whatever. And my thing says 203 or 204 or whatever it was. And I'm like, and I'm keeping that to myself, right? I think that that's pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm ahead. That's awesome. Pretty fun. So the ride, we finished the ride. Everything went totally, I was going to say it went really well, but it didn't. Remember, I had 5 flats. So, part of those were when I was riding with my friends, and my friend John, was wonderful in waiting for me while here I'm having all of these issues. And like I said, that last one was a total blowout. And thankfully my daughter had brought, an entire tire, because I had to change out the entire tire. So we were delayed, and it was a rough day. That last climb with the monster hill, that was really intense, and it was over 100. I think I remember seeing 109 on my bike weather thing. And it was painful, that long climb, and you're just going into the sun. And it was a very, very, very hard day. Luckily, I had a lot of friends with me, and I had a lot of friends that were working the event. And one of them, so I would get a Sprite. Sprite was like my thing. It would give you sugar. I was never very good at eating on bike rides, which is a really dangerous thing. If you're not eating, you're going to bonk. You're not going to be able to get an endurance ride in. And I was never very good at it. And I would drink like put powdered sustained energy in my water bottles. That would help. But Sprite, that always worked for me. It always worked really well. So I get up to this, I get done with that monster climb, or maybe it was right before the monster climb. I think it was right after. I don't remember. But one of my friends that was working the event brings me out this Sprite, and it's like this huge Sprite. I've never seen a huge one like that. And I'm like, ooh. I was so excited. And that just, gives you the sugar. You're replacing the sugar that is gone, all of the glucose that you're burning off. Excuse my dog. So anyway, hard ride, like my hardest ever. And my plan was to make it a 400-mile, and that certainly didn't happen. There were just so many problems of that day. So I didn't get it that day. That was at the end of September. I ended up getting it. I tried again in 2 or 2.5 weeks at the Bass Lake double century ride in October, middle of October. And so I planned it again. Crazy me. I thought, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm going to do, and this was just a couple weeks later, so not a whole lot of recovery on your muscles either, but I had the same plan. I'm going to start out the day before. My daughter came with me. We had a wonderful, wonderful time. So this was now the Bass Lake double century, and I did do the 200 miles the day before. I started, I don't know, noon or something the day before. And I stopped and took pictures. Like, I didn't just hammer through this. I took photos and enjoyed Melissa, and everything was fun. It was a really fun day and enjoyable until Melissa said, we were on this hill and it's pitch dark, like super, super, super dark. And Melissa said she needed to go to the restroom, and she's going to drive ahead to the restroom. And I said, okay, yeah, go ahead. And as soon as she left, I'm hearing all the critters, and there are a lot of critters where I was. I could hear rattlesnakes doing their rattle, and I can't see anything. It's pitch dark, but they're obviously over on the side of the road. Something jumped out in front of me, like right in front of my bike. I don't know what it was. There were all kinds of things, lots and lots of critters and things that were very, very scary, that I'm hearing all of it and riding out by myself and in the pitch dark middle of the night. And so Melissa, after she came back from the restroom, she came up to me and she goes, "You got a lot farther than I expected you to." And I went, "Yeah, I was really, really scared." So that was funny. We both have laughed about that over the years. So that was one thing. We did stop and sleep after I finished the 200 miles. There was something else. Oh, I didn't tell you about the tarantulas. So I think it wasn't Bass Lake. I think it was the one before the Knoxville, but it could have been Bass Lake. I don't remember now. Actually, I have photos of so it might have been Bass Lake. Anyway, so I'm out riding, and this is the day before the official event. So, and I'm by myself, there's nothing, and there's this entire street of tarantulas, like they're everywhere. And I'm like riding through them going, "Oh my gosh, gross." And ew. And at first I thought they were frogs because they were so big, but then I saw it and got a photo. They were tarantulas. So I didn't get a photo that night because I was scared, and I didn't take a photo, but I did the next day. So the next day on the official event, remember, there were literally like hundreds of them. They were all over the road. But the next day, when there were so many cyclists out on the roads and cars and all of that, there was one. I don't know, a few maybe, but I got a picture of one. So anyway, I remember that. Lots of tarantulas. I remember getting bored at one point. I was bored riding my bike, and I have a picture of me like, okay, I'm bored, just leaning on my handlebar. But Melissa played music and talked to me, and we had lots of rest stops where I stopped and ate, and she was so good at, you need to make sure to eat now, and now it's time to drink. And we even did official, if you ever go to an official bike race, you can see that that the teams will like hold out a water bottle, and you go by and you grab the water bottle, and we got to do that, and we felt so official. It was really fun. And Melissa told me, I told her, I said, "So you don't have to slam it into my hand when I come by." And she goes, I'm just holding it out. It's hitting you because of you going by. And so it was really funny. Like we're feeling all professional doing the little bike, the water bottle drop. So that was fun. So I felt better on this one than the Knoxville one that had so many issues and the extreme weather. This was a fun ride. So that 200 miles, it went really well. And then we did sleep in the car. I think I slept 3 hours before the official event started. And same thing, my body was all tightened up, and like, you got to stretch. I'm not very good at stretching. And so my body had tightened up a lot. And then I joined in with the official ride. And this time, every time they're yelling out, we're at mile 24, I'm at 224. And so I had already gotten the 200 miles. And I did tell the group that I was with this time. And so they knew what I was doing. And so we get to, we're far into the ride, and I'm tired. I'm super, super tired. My body hurts like crazy. And everybody was just supporting each other. We're doing this difficult event. And so we get to the Bass Lake climb. I don't remember the name of the climb, but right at the foot of the hill, I got stung by a bee on my chest, and it hurt. It burns when you get stung by a bee. And I'm looking at this 20-ish mile climb that I'm about to start on, and here I just got stung by a bee. And that was a bummer. But luckily, because bees seem to really like me, mosquitoes do too. So I had this stuff in my bike bag that was something to help with a bee sting. I don't remember what it's called, cortisone of some kind of a little lotion thing. So I put that on, and my friend was singing scripture to me up this long monster climb. Like, I'm tired, I'm getting grouchy because I'm tired, and I had just gotten stung by a bee and we've got this monster climb to do. And he's singing scripture to me up this hill. Like, what an amazing friend, absolutely amazing friend, Clyde. He was just such a sweet guy and always really, really strong. Somehow we always found each other. Like, I'd be out riding my bike in my area and he'd come up next to me in a stoplight. It was just, he was just always there for me. Super, super, super nice guy. So we got up the monster climb, did the descent, got lost on the way back, but it wasn't too bad. Finished the ride, and when everyone else was done, like we pull over the finish line, and I still had, I think, 9 miles I had to go to get my official 400. And so I had to go back out. I'm like, have fun, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes. I got to go do this. And I go and I ride 9 miles and ride like exactly what I need. Like ride 4.5 miles, turn back, ride back, whatever it was. I don't remember exact the number, but I remember I had to keep on riding after the official event ended. And I came back in and I was super excited, and everybody was super duper excited for me. They knew what I had accomplished. So that was my first double. That was an amazing bike ride. I had a really good time. It was a really strong year for me. And then just a couple years ago, my friend Ken and I decided to do one. We tried one of them, and that was the one with all the monster freezing cold rain. That one didn't work out, but then we did STP. So here in Idaho, back in California, they've got that triple crown, and there's a ton, like 15 different rides that you can choose from, that are double centuries, and you make them longer if you choose and whatever. But here in Idaho, I don't think there's any of those. There's several centuries, but I haven't seen a single double century here. I did do a double century here, but I did it by myself for the most part. So there's no like triples, there's nothing, there's no sanctioned events. And so, but everyone here talked about STP, which is Seattle to Portland. And I'm like, all right, I guess if that's the only way to do it, then so be it. So I'm riding with my bike club, and we're doing a ton of rides, like long rides every single weekend, up to I think about 135 miles to prepare for this 200-mile ride that is Seattle to Portland. And they're strong. These are all strong big boys. Now I'm the only girl doing it, and I got way in my head. Like I can get in my head like you can't imagine. I am my worst enemy. I will absolutely, and hopefully you have this, well, hopefully you don't, but hopefully I'm not the only one though. But I can tell myself I can't do this, I can't do that, and I can get way in my head. And I got and I was doing all of the bike rides with them, all of them. We did lots and lots, incredible miles that year, huge miles, and fast, very fast. I don't like riding that fast, and they're fast, but they just kind of pull you along like you're gonna do it, and so I did all of that. Well, then just a short while before the actual event, I got super in my head. I'm like, can't do it, can't ride with these boys. They're going to kill me. They're so fast, and I don't want to hold them back. And that's the biggest thing for me. So I could get in my own head and think I'm not good enough, not strong enough, not pretty enough, not thin enough, all those things that we women do. But for me, the bigger thing is if I'm going to hold someone else back. That's the thing that scares me, is I don't want to have all of these strong boys going, that girl, she's slow. That's when I get in my head. It's like, I'm going to hold someone else up. That's the part, or someone else has an expectation of me and I'm not living up to that, whatever. That's when I can get most in my head. So I went down this rabbit hole and got super, super nervous about it. And so instead of doing that event with the boys, they got me so strong and so ready for the event, but I got nervous. And so I contacted my friend Ken and I said, I need you. You got to come do this STP event with me. And he said, all right, let's make it into a quad. Let's do 400 miles. And I'm like, I'm on board. Let's do it. So I've been in Idaho only 5 years, been riding with these guys just for a very short amount of time, like a year at that point. And but Ken, I've ridden with a ton. So when John passed away, I told you about John, my amazing friend that totally believed in me. When he got hit by a car and lost his life, Ken took over. He we got to go do the grand tour, which was me and John's ride. He believed in me and he pushed me, and he literally just took over John's role. And so we decided to, so I trusted him. I felt comfortable with him. I felt like I could do this big event with him. Whereas the new boys, they were amazing guys, but I just got in my head, and that's my stuff, not theirs by any means. They're absolutely amazing, protected me, got me strong the whole bit, but I felt comfortable with Kent. So I didn't tell any of them what I was going to do. And I went and Ken and I rode 200 miles the day before. We started in Portland and rode to Seattle, and then did the official event, the Seattle to Portland. Well, the funny thing is it goes through this military area that is closed on the day of the event. It's not closed the day before. So guys with big guns were guarding this area, telling us, nope, you can't go. And we got lost. The Garmins do not work in Portland. Let me tell you right now, we just looped all around. We wasted so much time. And yet we laughed throughout the day. We had the best day ever, had the most fun you can possibly have, felt strong all day, super strong all day, felt really, really, really good. So we did the whole 200 miles, figuring out where we are, and I had never ridden there, and just did this on our own, and it was amazing. And then we pull up to do the official STP ride, and Ken got a flat right in the beginning. As we're nearing the start line, he gets a flat, and we're like, uh-oh, and he fixed it, no problem. And we didn't have any other problems the whole rest of the day. We had both of us, I think our foot hurt at one point, and we just had to sit down and take our shoes off for a little bit. So the big boys raced through that ride. They did it really fast, like they do. They're just strong. And we stopped and took lots of photos, and we talked, and we relaxed, and we had cookies. There was a guy that yelled out to me, anyone on a pink bike has to have some of these cookies. And I'm like, okay. So great support, great event. We literally had a blast. I think that was one of my it was within the top 2 of my most favorite rides, and had just so much fun. And we did 400 miles. So it was definitely a fun one for both of us. So that's what I wanted to share with you, my 400-mile ride, and how I failed the first time, and then the second time got it done, and then did it again. And just amazing support. If you're trying to do these big things, and if you're like me, you can get in your head, and that's never a good place to be, right? We have to trust in our own abilities and trust that we can accomplish these big things. And that's hard. I'm sure it's not just me. It's definitely a hard thing to trust in yourself and to believe in yourself that you can do these things. And yet then you accomplish them, and you feel so very excited and thankful for the people that got you there. So that's my story for today. Don't forget to share in the comments and tell me about your goal and how you're doing with it. And my shirt today, I really like this one. So this is bloom where you are planted. I really like that. It's a really good saying. I believe it was Hoop Mama Designs. Either way, I will add a link underneath the video. I added a bunch of bling to it, which I really like doing on my shirts. It's fun. I used a lot of different colors of bling. But bloom where you're planted. So I actually made myself this sweater when we were moving out of what I considered to be our dream home. So we moved to Idaho, and we built this house that was absolutely gorgeous. And then we had to move from that house in less than a year, or right about a year. And it was really hard on me. I'll tell you, I love that house, and it's only a mile from where we are now. And our new house is beautiful. My husband likes this one much better. He loved that other one too, though. But anyway, so, you're not a tree. You don't have to stay where you are. You can bloom and find joy in wherever you are. So bloom where you are planted. I think that's a really good saying for a shirt. So I'll add information under the video. The sweater is from Fred Meyer from several years ago. So I don't have a link for that, but I will add a link for where you can get the design.